Hello, and welcome to Michell Consulting's webinar series for our Michell University. Today we're going to be working with SAP Business One, and we're going to be looking at some new functionality that's going to be available in version 9.0. This webinar is being recorded to be available on our website, so you can visit us at www.michellgroup.com to view this, plus the others in our training series. Like we said, today we're going to be working with the new version of SAP Business One, which is version 9.0, and we're going to be talking about the functionality of multiple units of measure. So let's look at some of the changes and some of the functionality we have here. If we go into Administration, Setup, and under Inventory, we have a couple of new tabs here. We have units of measure and units of measure groups. We have the length, width, and height. Again, these were in the standard SAP. Other versions are here as well. They're just separated. So here what we can do is we can define our units of measure. So in here we would set up our units of measure. And again, we have this manual. This functionality is for the grouping, which we'll explain in a little bit. So you can assign these to different types of items. So here I just created some codes. So I have a 6-pack, a carton, a pack, a pallet, a small pack, and eaches. And you can see we can assign the length, the width, the height, the volume, as well as the weight to all these items. So we can set that up. So we have this setup of the units of measure. So let's go on. Before I continue on, let's actually do a kind of demonstration on how this works. And then we'll go back and see where we've got that. So let's go into an item. I created an item for purpose of here. So we're going to have an item for paper. And again, we created this item, and we're going to go into this item and show you some of the functionality. Again, so we can see here we have a purchase on our purchasing data. We're purchasing it by the pallet, and we can see that there's 48 in the pallet. And we're selling it by the 6-pack, and there's 6 in the pack. Okay, so let's take a look at some of that. So let's go into purchase orders. Let's do a goods receipt PO. We're going to go to our item. And again, we can see in stock we have 4,800. So here we're going to go and we're going to look at the information. There's a couple new fields that are added on the marketing documents, which we'll see here. I'll show them to you on the sales order. But there's some new fields added. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually do 1 here as a quantity. Remember, our default is we're purchasing it by the pack. So there's 48 in the pack. So let's go ahead and add this. So again, if we look here, you can see that we have 48. So we're going to receive 1. So we're going to add an additional 48. So we did a receiving of 100 here, so we have that. Okay, so let's go ahead and add this. 1. Let me put a price on it. And again, this functionality here is the bin locations. We're not going to cover this today, but that's another functionality that's available is the multiple bins you can see here. We do have a webinar that you can visit on our site to see the functionality for bin locations. Again, I can't receive, I don't have enough space in that bin, so let me just change the bin real quick. Bring it into a receiving area. I'm going to add this document. Again, that's another functionality within the 9.0 is bin locations. So we're going to go back here. We can see how we received it, and you can see now how our stock went to 48.48. because I received 1 as a quantity, so I received 1 pallet. That was my default. Let me go open up those fields that were created. We have this field called code, unit of measure code. We have a open and group. Let's open up these right here. So again, you can see here that the code, which was pallet, that was our default. You can change this, and I'll show you. We'll do more of that on the sales. What I'm showing you on the sales is also for purchasing, but we'll do it kind of more on the sales side. So you can see, again, there is my pallet, there is my code. Okay, this is in my groups. Okay, so let's go to sales real quick, and let's just go through it, and then I'll show you where the information is coming from. So we're going to do a simple sales order. Put a delivery date of today. We'll select our item. And you can see here that the code is defaulted to 6-pack. And again, if I look here at my item master on the sales data, we can see now this sales code. And this is a new little field here. If you click here, again, we can see the unit of measures and the package types. So again, there's my 6-pack. Again, these are my different units of measure. And this is my 6-pack. That's my default. So again, we're going to go ahead and we can change this unit of measure now. If we want to do that, we can tab in and we can actually sell a carton. And you'll see that this is changed to 24. It's because I have 4 cartons, and 6 times 4 is 24, so we're getting that information. Again, if I wanted to tab and sell a pallet, again, you're seeing right here, and so on. If I do, let's say, a small pack, you can see here I'm getting half a pack. All right, so let's see where this is coming from. Let's go out of here and let's look at some of the setup. One of the things we do, if we go into administration and we go system initialization under general settings, there's a new setup on the inventory tab here, which is right here. Auto add U of M group definitions for new and existing items. Auto add all package definitions. So again, you can set this up because what we're doing is we're going to define groups of items. So we have all these units of measure, so we can sell different groups. In this example, let's say I have paper products. So paper products, I receive them by the pallet, and I sell them by either the carton or the 6-pack. But then I can have other items that I say I receive by the carton, and I only sell it by the eaches. So we can define different groups. And then within these groups, we can link these groups to items. We can also have this set up, again, so when we create items, they come in automatically. So we have it here. We also have, if we go into setup, inventory, if we look at the inventory item groups, we can see here, again, we have some information here that was added. So we can look here, minimum orders and so on, added to our item groups. You can see here in the warehouse, you can see here under the bins, we again have our information here, and so on. So we can have that set up. So now let's go here under Setup. So we're in Administration, Setup, and let's go to Inventory, and let's talk about those fields we saw. Again, we saw our units of measure, which we defined here. And then we have our unit of measure groups. So what I did here is I have manual. Manual just means no group. So you can leave manual. So you can default items to no groups at all, or you can actually create a group. So I created this group here called paper. Right? If I look at the group definition, this is where the information is coming from. Again, I have a base. In this case, my base is my pack. I need to have a base unit of measure, which holds true in the inventory. So you can see here that I have my base quantity, and I have my alternate quantity for conversion purposes. So, for example, the pack is a one-to-one relationship. The small pack, okay, is half a pack. So I'm using this 2 to do the inversion. That's why you saw on the line I get the 0.5. The 6-pack is 6 packs. So you can see here it's my base times 6. My carton is composed of 4 of the 6 packs. So I get my 24. And my pallet is 48. And again, you can set these up depending on how you do it, but this is where it's actually getting the information from. You can see here. Then we have these groups. We can now assign a group, and when we do assign groups, we get some changes on the items. So let's go to the items. Okay, let's call it this item first. You can see here, this item, the group is manual. Right, so I don't have any information. And if you notice when I go here, okay, if you look at the purchasing units of measure, you don't see the little 3 dots here. If you go here, again, you don't see those little 3 dots because this is not really tied to anything. The group here is not linked to anything. So it behaves like the standard SAP from before version 9.0, and you have the information here. Now, if I call up my item, you can see that this is the trigger. And you can also see this is grayed out. One of the things that you have to do, you have to be careful because once you set the grouping unit of measure and you have transactional data, like in this case I have some PO receivings, I cannot then alter that. I have to set that group. I can alter some other information, but I can't do that. I need that is because what's happening is I need it for all my reporting purposes. What I need to do is that I'm still keeping the inventory in my base unit of measure, but I have to do all this stuff for how I sell and when I run reports like my inventory audit report and so on. So be aware if you want to use this, you have to really understand how you want to set it up and begin setting it up. Once you create this and you do a transaction, you cannot change the group. So then, this is my group paper, and you can see that because I set a group on my purchasing data, see now I have this little, I can hit these 3 buttons, and again, I can do some stuff on this screen. So for example, this is my pallet, and again, I can enter my dimensions and weights for pallet. Right? I can also have my packaging types set up here. Let's actually go through packaging. So let me show you that, and we'll come back into here. So I'm going to go Administration, Setup, Inventory, and we can go to Package Types. Package Types was something that was actually in the system before, okay, but it's just been also used. You can create, now it links to them, so you can have, like, for example, package types, and what you can do is you can set your width, height, again, depending on your package information. So you can say that a container, may hold, you have a length and a width and so on. So you want to set this information up, again, just for that type of information. So this is still here. And that's been incorporated into the multiple units of measure. This hasn't changed from the other SAP. So let's go back to the items, and let's look at some other changes in the inventory. Because now we're dealing with the multiple units of measure, we can also do some other things related to barcodes and other information that we will need during the process. So if you notice, some of the things have changed. In the prior versions of SAP, you had the barcode up here. Now what you're doing is you have the barcode here. So what you can do is you can create barcodes for the individual units of measure. And again, you can see pack is here highlighted because that's my default. So what I can do is I can create a barcode for the pack. I can then go to the carton and so on. So you can see I have my pack, I have my carton, and I have my pallets. So what I'm doing, I can use barcodes. If I update this, so now I have barcodes. So I have a barcode for the pack, a barcode for the pallet, and so on. I can create all the barcodes here within the system. So that's been changed. So now you can do barcodes again for each one. This will just hold the default. And again, the default that we were working with, you can see here, is the pack. You can also do the pricing. Again, you can go here, and you can do pricing now by the units of measure. So you can have a base price, and then what you can do here, so our base price on this one is 8 for the pack, and we can tab, and let's say we can do the carton. And again, see, it's going to figure out the price for you because it's using that conversion of how many cartons to a pack. Again, and so on. We can do a pallet. And again, we're using this conversion that we saw in the original setup. This is coming from the group. So remember how we set that group when we said there was the 6-packs was 6, and there was 24 to the carton and 48 to the pallet. Again, it's using that to go through. And again, so you can set your pricing this way. So we can have the pricing here so you can see how it's going to come over. So we can update that. So again, to recap in the item master, some of the changes is we have this unit measure group that we can link. Once we turn this on, we can then, on our purchasing data, we can still enter our defaults, how we purchase. We purchase by the pallet, and we sell by the 6-pack. But in here, again, you can now, you have these to navigate. So you can look at the purchasing unit of measure as well as the package types. Again, in here. So you can say, you know what, every time we do the pallet, we can have here the container set as default, and how many packs in a container. Let's say there's 4 packs in a container. So we can do it that way. Okay, we can update that. So then we can say the 6-pack, and again, we want to do that, let's say in a box or a barrel. Again, we can set that up. So this is a new functionality that you can see here in the system. You have it on the purchasing data and also on the sales data. And the same holds true. We can say our 6-pack, and let's say the 6-pack goes in a box. And let's say we can put two 6-packs in one box. We'll update that. We can also set that for default. So again, now if we look here, we can see right here that our 6-pack is in a box, and there's 2 packs for a box. This is nice because what it'll do is actually show you in selling and all that stuff how many boxes you may need for everything. Okay, so let's go now into sales. See some of that. And again, that information is coming from the critical part is under administration, setup, inventory. We have our unit of measure groups. So if we look here under our group definition for paper, this is how we're getting the information. So it's using this for all its calculations for pricing and costing and packaging and so on. So let's go into sales. Let's go into sales order. Let's create an order here. So we're going to call up Earthshaker. I'm going to ship it today. We're going to go here to our item. And again, you can see the default is the 6-pack. Again, you can see the information on the pricing here. So again, it knows. So if we were to change this, and we would go to, let's say, carton. Again, you're going to get the 24, and you're going to get the price. And so on. If we go to a small pack, again, you're getting half the pack. It's going to be a unit price. Let's go to the 6-pack, and here's the quantity. So here's what we're actually selling. So let's say we're going to just sell 2 of these. So it's going to do the calculation. So I'm going to create 2. 2 times 6 is 12. We have the calculations. We have all the information here. Take our discount out. Okay, so we're just going to add the sales order. Let's call the sales order back. And we can now copy, let's copy this to a delivery. And again, you can see the information in the delivery. We have 2, and again, the price, and there's our unit code and everything. There's also a nice functionality we have that's been added in SAP for this. If you want to right-click, and you can go into the packing slip. Now you can create a packing slip. So again, you can go, here's that package type we talked about. We had 2 of these. I think we said we're going to put 2 in a box. Okay, and again, you can go here and you can add, you know, if you had weight set up. I don't have weight set up in the demo, but again, you saw that you can set those weights and volumes up. Okay, and again, you can see here. So we have 2, so we're going to grab 2. We're going to put this 2 in a box. Actually, we should do this. Let's see if I can. Well, we'll do 2 here. I wanted to actually go in, and since I said 2 to a box, we'll do another one. I sent 2 to a box. I wanted to put 3, but I only have here. So we're going to select the 2. Okay, and again, there's my weight. So we can click Update. Click OK. We can do a print preview. And we can see I guess we're not going to do that because I have a little issue with my crystal, but you would be able to get the packing slip. Sometimes happen when you're working with demo data. I don't have my crystal. See if I can get it now. There we go. Take care of my, here's my delivery note. I don't have it set up for the packing. So you can create a packing slip. This is the actual delivery note. I have to fix my crystal report for that. But let's do, again, that. So we have that set up. Again, we just go ahead and add this. So we can go here and just do a direct delivery, and let's just do a direct one here. So let's do, we did 3 of these. Let's do 7 of them. We're going to go here, and we're going to package type. We're going to select a box. I believe I put 2 in the box. That again. I want to show you that part. I just want to set that up. You can set that up. I'm just going to do a direct. And you can set that up, or you can split the boxes. I'm going to say we're going to put 2 in this box, and then we're going to see we have 1 left over, so we're going to select 1. And so on. So we can create this information here, and again, we can actually print that packing slip. So let's review what we did today. We're talking about the new functionality that's available in SAP version 9.0 called multiple units of measure. We can see some changes to the system. In our setup, we have a couple things that we can do. So if we go to administration and we go to setup and we go into inventory, we have some new menu items here. We have units of measure and unit of measure groups. Units of measure would be all the units of measure that you use within your organization, so you can define all those here. You can go ahead and put the length, the width, the weight, and volume, and so on the system. You'll notice that line 1, the manual, again, this is just for when you have items that you do not want to use the unit of measure functionality. You can just continue with the standard SAP way of doing units using the default. And then the key is the groups. Once you do that, you define a group. So in this case, we have a group called paper. We highlight that and go to group definition, and this is what's in the paper. So again, you don't have to have all of these, but again, like I said before, you can create groups. You may have another group that you just deal with, let's say, pallet and cartons. So you would create your second group with pallets and cartons. You may have another group that's pallets, cartons, and packs. Or you may have a group that's just pack and small pack. Again, you want to set those up to match your inventory on how you basically package and how you sell your items. We just did this one for paper. And again, you can see the base, and again, the base is all based on the pack. So you can see a small pack, we're using this alternative quantity, which is basically taking the reverse, the reciprocal. So we're taking 2, which would be half of this one. This 6-pack, we're using just this 1 because we don't want to split this into fractions. And so we're saying the 6-pack contains 6 packs. The carton contains 24 packs. And the pallet contains 48 pack. Again, pack being the base unit of measure in the setup. You can also, and if you go under the item groups, you can set some information here. Again, you can default item groups, which you see the inventory units of measure, and some information here. You can also, in the initial setup, so if you go administration, system initialization, under the general settings, under the inventory, we now have these two new fields. So auto add group definitions to new and existing items, and auto add the packaging type. So again, you can set those up. You can group those. So you can link an item group to a unit of measure group. So it just makes it easier when you create the items. There's been some changes in the item master. Okay, several changes in that. Let's go look. And again, if you go to an inventory item and we select an item not using a group, for example, this one here, we have the manual, so we don't have a group. Again, standard SAP you saw before. You don't have the drill into information here. You still have the multiple barcodes. Okay, but again, since you're using manual, you're only going to have one barcode. If you select an item now and you assign it to a group, as you can see here, and again, once you assign item to the group and you have some transactional data, you cannot change that group. But now you can see here you have this. So you have your purchasing code here, and you have your link. This is what was new that was added to incorporate the standard package types as well as the new the units of measure. So again, you can set everything up in this screen. Same holds true on the sales data. And you can set up your defaults. The 6-pack is our default selling, and Pallet was our default purchasing. You can also set up, again, the pricing. You can see here, you can set the pricing, again, by the units of measure. So there's the pricing for the pack. So if we were to go here and choose the carton, again, we can update that. We can have pricing for both. And the barcode. The barcode used to be up here. Now we can have a barcode per the unit of measure packs. So again, here you can see we can create a barcode and so on. And then in the marketing documents, we have some new fields. We have a unit of measure code and the open inventory quantity for that unit of measure code. So you can see that if we go to the sales order and we go here, and you can see the two fields here. That also holds true in the delivery. If we look at our relationship map and we open up the delivery ticket, you have the information here. So again, really nice functionality has been incorporated into the new version of SAP 9.0. Again, nice. You can have units of measure, so you can really tailor to your company's specific needs. Okay, so that concludes our demo today. Like we said, this is being recorded. This will be available on our website. You can visit us at www.michellgroup.com. And once again, we thank you for your time.